Hello class. I'd like to make a video helping you with some of the ideas and questions I've been getting lately. I'd say two of the bigger questions are how to make the ball disappear and how to deal with collision of the brick. So these are two fundamental questions. The first can actually be solved pretty easily. By the way, just to get you up to speed as to where I'm at right now, I have a paddle which has the ability to have a dy and dx. I don't know why a paddle would have a dy, so I'm going to go up or down. And then draw a method to draw the paddle. And brick is where I kind of housed my brick array. I changed the name of some variables. I think I had a variable called w, and I made it spacing because that was probably more accurate as to what that was doing. And here's my breakout method right now. I just have two methods in there, ball movement and the brick being hit. So in fact, that brick hit, I made a ball method. So here's my ball constructor. It's kind of a different constructor. It's actually the no argument constructor for ball, which actually creates a 0x0 ball in the location 0, 0, right? But then I use a set size and set location method. Those are actually both rectangle methods. Remember, we are extending rectangles. So those are the rectangle methods. So I take the 0, 0 ball and set it to a size of 2020 and to a location of 380, 300, which maybe isn't the best location, but what do you want to do? Want to put in the middle of the screen, maybe gv5 dot get maximum x divided by 2. Maximum y divided by 2. Bang. So now I've got a move method here, which just takes the x value, updates it by the dx, the y updates it by the dy. Look at my dx dy right now. Maybe we'll get into that later, but right now I just want to test this thing out, right? So I'm just saying, like, what's going to happen here is the ball's just going to go straight up, okay? So I wrote a method called brick hit. Now, kind of cheating a little bit here because I'm making that array public, so I don't have to use like getters and setters for it. But so this bricks array, the array of bricks in the brick class, is public, so we can see it. Now, does that brick array called bricks does belong to the brick class? So the way we reference it is we say the class dot bricks. Okay. So I'm going to iterate. This is just going to allow me to iterate through the bricks array however long it is, right? And then this is an interesting idea. So let's just start out here and just maybe simplify this. So first of all, we're just saying now we're in the ball class again. So when I say this dot intersects, I'm saying the ball intersects with a brick, right? So if it intersects with a brick, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set that brick visibility. I have a field called isVis, so is visible in the brick array, and I set it to true initially, right? I set it to true initially. And look at my draw method here, and this is kind of the magic because I'm basically saying if that value is true, then I'm going to set the color and I'm going to fill the object, right? Otherwise, I'm not going to do anything, right? There's nothing else there. So if it's not visible, then that brick is not going to be drawn, right? It's not going to be drawn. And so by checking for collision and then saying, well, if there's a collision, I'm going to set is visible. Now I need to have this setter method because I did make this private like I was supposed to, and I basically just said, hey, isVis could be false. Now maybe in the future I might want to be setting bricks back to being visible again, but I don't know if that's ever a thing. So so right now I'm just going to say that method simply always sets that field to false. Okay. So let's watch what happens when we run this guy. And the ball is moving up. And you can see as it hits the bricks, they're no longer visible, right? Because those fields have been set to false. Now the draw method, now you may be wondering like, well, where is this looping action happening? But remember the draw method and the update method both essentially have that implicit looping behavior because update's happening 60 frames per second, draw is happening 3,000 times per second. And so my draw bricks method, I call, this is me just like testing out some of the other stuff, but in my draw bricks method, I'm just saying iterate through the bricks and draw the bricks, right? Well, when we look at the draw method, we only draw bricks that have a field of is visible set to true, okay? So some people are saying, and this is kind of an interesting idea, and it'd be interesting, well, how can we test this idea? I suppose you test this idea by giving maybe dx a value and getting the ball to maybe bounce around and come back into play. So let's say so for right now, I just want bounce, like if the ball is anywhere near the top, or sides is less than or equal to 0. Of darkness. We'll do that with the Y. Now remember that your get Y, get X are going to reference the upper left-hand corner of the ball. So when we're going towards max, be get width, plus get width greater or equal to GD5 dot get maximum dot X. So that's GD5 dot get maximum dot X is like the maximum value over there. I have to add the width to it. Same thing here. I would have to add the height to it. Although they are the same value, actually. All right, so I just want some bouncing behavior to show you kind of the issue I think a lot of people are having right now, or how about that? How about that? We're going to change the dy. All right, so I'm running this method here. Basically, I'm just going to take this method. I'm just trying to abstract away so my move method doesn't get huge. So I'm just going to say bounce in here. So I wrote that behavior, but I'm going to put in the move method, right? Part of the ball movement. Right? All right, let's see what happens. Boom. Speed is super slow. What I'm looking for, yeah, it's going to go through bricks. It's going to like just keep moving around. It's super slow. We can't take it. Let's go like 4 or something like that. And the other thing that we want to talk about today, I would expect it to bounce off the bottom, wouldn't you? Because that's the problem with copying and pasting, right? So yeah, it's the Y. Anywhoosies, what was I gonna say? Oh, the other problem is, and you can see it with the behavior here, is the ball simply goes straight through the pals. Now that could be like power up in all reality, and that's kind of cool when the ball does that, but you would kind of expect it not to do that. And what I'm looking for here is just to bounce, or we're not bouncing. There's no bounce. Oh, yeah, you don't really see it unless we're bouncing off the bricks. Okay, so maybe we'll hit this situation later. I don't know. Thought we're gonna see some of that later. So, anyways, right now we seem pretty happy with what's happening. We have to be able to deal with collision. Okay, so it could be the ball. It could be written in the ball class, and we kind of have that thing going here, break hit. And I think I'm gonna basically write a method here which deals with collision or actually collision direction is sort of unlimited, but it deals with collision direction, and then we'll use it in the brick hit class. I don't know, maybe that's a little bit extra, but I think otherwise brick hit could get really long. So basically, you know, what you want to be able to do is go to utilities class, where GDB5 is, and you want to be able to look at this method here and try to start to understand what's happening. What kind of parameters do I need? You don't really even have to understand how it works. You just understand what it does, and that it returns 1 if there's an intersection from the top, 2 intersection from the left, 3 intersection from the right, bottom. So top and bottom are 1 and 3, odd numbers. Right and left are even numbers, 0 and 2. And default intersection on the right is 0, which makes this a little tricky because you can't just call it all the time, or else you're going to get a bunch of zeros, and that may be causing some unexpected behavior. So you really want to call it when there's an intersection. You really want to call it when there's an intersection. And actually, how do I want to handle this? So here's the thing. I'm going to be getting, and maybe this is a little trickeroonsky for you guys, or for my explanation, but I'm going to be getting an integer value, right? How about that? Brick, I'm going to call it brick balance. I'm going to get an integer value from GDB5. So I'm just going to say I know I'm going to get this integer value, which is the result of the collision direction, whatever, I'm going to call it result, okay? And if it's odd, let's see, 1 and 3, that means it's intersecting from the top or bottom, and that means I want to change the dy, right? So basically what I'm going to say is if the result mod 2 equals 1, that means it's odd, right? I'm going to say this dot dy equals negative this dot dy. Does it make sense? If it hits from the top or bottom, I want to change dy. Bounce up or down. Else, right, I guess I could just say else because otherwise it's got to be even. This dot dx equals, meaning it hits from the sides, right? Okay, so breakdowns. Now the thing is, I need a result. I need some value here. So I don't like putting it in here because I'll be initializing that variable constantly. So I'm going to say int brick, just create a field, private, wait, these things aren't private. Private int brick result. It's a little bit extra here, but what else? Not the private, but the fact that I'm making another variable. I mean, you don't have to have it, but I just think it helps you keep track of things, makes the code more readable at the end of the day, even for yourself, kind of thing. So, all right. So brick result is going to be the result of the collision, right? And this is the moment when I have a collision, right? When there's intersection. So 36, line 36 checks if there's intersection. That means in the body of this if statement, I want to set the brick value for visible to false, right? And I want to get the result of the collision direction and tell me which way I should bounce. Okay, so how about that? So I'm going to say brick result equals, you could call this by GDB5 or by breakouts, G5.collision direction. Boom, there's. Now it takes a stationary rectangle parameter, a projectile rectangle, and the dx dy of the projectile. Projectile is going to be the ball. Stationary rectangle is going to be the brick. So my brick is brick dot bricks index I, right? That's the brick that we're dealing with. This guy is the ball, which is basically this. and we want a dx and a dy, and that's going to be this dot dx, and this is going to be this dot dy. Okay, so that is brick result, and they really didn't like the way I wrote that. Why didn't you like that? Oh. All right, how do you like that? So brick result's an integer, right? And I'm going to take that integer, and then I'm going to use it in my brick bounce method, which is going to sort of set the either dy or dx to be negative. How about that? Let's see how that works. So brick bounce. Now the reason I'm, again, a couple things here. The reason I'm not having to like have an object, like I could say this dot brick bounce, but yeah, the reason I don't have to do that right now is because I'm in the class itself and I'm calling a method of the class, right? And I'm going to put brick result in there. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Now, what I'm looking for here is to get a little different behavior on my bounces. Now when I hit the brick from the bottom, I'm looking for the ball to bounce down. So let's see how that works. Oh, nice. Now that's what I want to kind of show you guys. That weird behavior where it actually bounced off of the black brick, the brick that's not drawn anymore. And so it's an interesting idea, but like, hey, the brick's still there. The brick is still there. We're just not drawing it because, it's been hit. So how do we sort of say I don't want to check bricks that have already been hit? And there it is, making that weird kind of bouncing again. So the way you do that, or one way to do that, I would think, is to use the value of this field called is visible. Is visible, because is visible is really saying whether or not we want to draw something or whether we want to acknowledge that it's there. Well, I only want to change the direction of the ball if the brick itself is visible, right? If it's a live brick. And so I just put that idea right in here and just say if this dot get, I had to write a getter for it because it's, oh, I'm sorry, not this, but the brick. So it's a brick dot bricks index I, the brick that we're intersecting with, its visibility get viz. I wrote a method called get viz. If that is equal to true, right? And there's an intersection with that brick, right? So here we are iterating through all the bricks. If the brick is visible and the ball intersects with the brick, then let's do all this other stuff, right? Then let's do all this other stuff. And that is going. We should be able to see pretty quickly whether or not that worked. And yeah, it went through the black space this time. So that looks pretty good. That's pretty exciting. Kind of threw a bunch of things in there. Haven't dealt with the paddle. By the way, I think you want to be dealing with the paddle. In fact, I'm sure you want to be dealing with the paddle the same way we dealt with collision direction here, because you don't want that issue with the paddle when it hits on the side and kind of runs through the paddle. So by dealing with the paddle and ball intersection with GDB5, you will avoid that kind of jankiness that a lot of you guys had in Pong, right? So try to use this as some sort of a model to guide you, maybe if you're still a little bit confused. And I did kind of break it apart, right? I actually broke it apart and wrote the sub method for this thing. Could have put all this in there, but I just think it's a lot of logic to put in there. Yeah. So any who's doozies, hopefully that's helpful, and good luck. Please ask questions. Ask questions in class if you're stuck, or send me a remind or an email or something like that. Okay.